Joining me is another amazing doctor. This is Dr. Fiona Gupta, who is from Hackensack University Medical Center, and she deals with a lot of people who have movement disorders. Your big specialty is DBS, is that right?
Correct.
Deep Brain Stimulation. Talk to people about what that is.
Sure. So I am a movement disorder neurologist. I see Parkinson's disease patients across the span, whether it's early, mild, moderate, advanced patients. And then again, the deep brain stimulation is a wonderful surgical therapy for the right patient in Parkinson's disease.
So let's talk about that. Let's say that I'm a patient and I was just diagnosed. Let's say I'm a patient, I was just diagnosed 6 months ago, and I'm brand new to this. Is DBS for me? Or what would you say to me? What questions should I be asking?
Well, if you were just diagnosed within the last 6 months, there's a lot to learn and a lot to understand within Parkinson's disease. Deep brain stimulation may not be an option at that time, but it's important to be aware of it and to know when it may play a role in the course of the Parkinson's disease spectrum. An event like this, we're so wonderful. Oh, it's so wonderful to have an event like this in our community. It's my absolute favorite event. It's a wonderful place for patients who were recently diagnosed to gain a lot of insight and information across the spectrum regarding different treatments of Parkinson's disease. Everything from the exercise, the diet world, the dance therapy, all the way to medication treatments, and then of course the surgical options.
And there are no stupid questions. That's the great thing, is that every single doctor I meet is completely wide open, and you can ask them really anything. It's an opportunity to do that, and very few walks make that happen. Those two worlds collide in a very casual
much so.
way,
You know, we encourage our patients to come with lists of questions and seek out the specialists and ask whatever they feel is right. There is never any stupid question in Parkinson's disease.
So what about if let's say I have it for 25 years that I've been dealing with PD, what questions would be then, the right ones to ask at that point?
Right, that's a great question. So Parkinson's disease does advance over time. A lot of different symptoms come into it. It's not just about the shaking or the movement or the rigidity or the slowness. A lot of issues related to mood, cognition, and different areas of the body that Parkinson's can affect. So that's really important to ask anything to the healthcare specialist, because it all may pertain to Parkinson's disease. Also to find ways of continuing to live well with Parkinson's. That's really my mantra, and the mantra I think of the walk is really living well with Parkinson's, and ways to do that, whether it's dance therapy, exercise, family support. There is many different ways of really kind of living well with this condition, and it's very doable.
And it makes a big difference.
Very much so.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being out here with us.
We are delighted to be here.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about what the research right now that the NINDS is conducting on Parkinson's disease. Can you tell us about that?
So we have a whole range of studies, from very basic studies trying to understand what causes Parkinson's disease, all the way to phase 3 clinical trials to test particular interventions, and an effort which we are really focused on to try to take the basic science discoveries and turn them into interventions that we can do. And our most exciting project is a brand new effort to identify biomarkers that would enable us to do the phase 3 clinical trials in half or a third the time, which means better treatments sooner.
Where are you at on that in the biomarkers? I know it's probably confidential, but
No. We've just started, and our goal is to try to discover different strategies that could be used for biomarkers. So physical tests, or tests, something we could detect in blood or cerebrospinal fluid, even urine or saliva. So the goal is to have a series of things that look like they're promising to follow the progression of the disease, which we need to stop, and then we could use those once we know that they're valid in trials.
Okay, now what should patients know about the NIH and Parkinson's research? I know that there's a lot out there, there's a lot of information. What should they know, really
So
know?
first of all, they should know we have, I think, an excellent website, www.ninds.nih.gov. And they should know that we're often looking for patients to participate in our studies. In fact, one of the reasons it takes as long as it does to run studies is that patients don't recognize how they can contribute to advances in biomedical research through participation in studies.
And they're able to work toward participation by going on the website?
Going on the website, we have a list of all the trials that we're running, and there's another site, clinicaltrials.gov, which has all the trials in any disease, and it's organized by where the trials are actually recruiting and what the trials are. And also Michael J. Fox Foundation has a wonderful website, the Trial Finder.
Now, I know we talked a little bit about the biomarkers.
Right.
What else is really exciting you about Parkinson's research?
So one of the most amazing findings in the past decade has been that there's a significant genetic contribution to Parkinson's. Everybody used to think it was all environmental factors that caused people to develop Parkinson's, but we now know that there are a number of genes, 8 genes, which can cause Parkinson's, and also that there are a whole series of additional genes that increase people's risk for Parkinson's. So that's very exciting, and also the recognition that exercise, very simple intervention, can make a huge difference in quality of life for Parkinson's.
So the walk here makes a big difference?
Walk here makes a big difference. We're also very excited about the finding that deep brain stimulation, a surgical implantation of electrodes, can help patients in the mid-stage of the disease recover mobility, and that's made a huge difference for a number of patients.
Yeah, now I know that deep brain stimulation, is there a perfect candidate, or how do you go about finding out who works for that?
First of all, if you have Parkinson's, the best thing to do is to, I mean, it's great to see a family practitioner.
Yeah.
But it's better if you see a neurologist who specializes in neurological disorders, or even better yet, if you go see a movement disorder specialist. And they will have knowledge about the different pharmacological treatments and will know when someone's a good candidate for DBS.
Great. Now, what can you tell us a little bit about the President's Brain Initiative and how it's going to impact what you're doing there at the research?
So that was so exciting. I actually was able to be at the White House in the East Wing when he announced the new Brain Initiative. Yeah. A wonderful speech, and if you want to get inspired, you can find a video of that speech on the White House website or on the main NIH website, which will direct you to the White House website. And the goal here is we know a lot about how the brain is wired, like a wiring diagram or a map, but what we don't know is how information passes along the parts of that wiring diagram. And the goal here is to enable scientists and physicians to really understand how information is processed. And if you take the example I gave you of deep brain stimulation, it's actually quite crude. It's just 2 electrodes in equivalent parts on either side of the brain, which resets the brain circuit, almost like a brain pacemaker for Parkinson's.
Okay.
But if we understood more about how the circuits that are affected in Parkinson's actually functioned, we could design a much more sophisticated tool that would make many aspects of Parkinson's, not just the movement disorder, but many other aspects of Parkinson's.
And so this initiative is really going to help bring you along there.
Absolutely. One of the problems is we often promise cures to engage the public, and so this new initiative won't make a difference right away, but in 5 or 10 years, I think we'll see a huge impact from that.
Progress is good.
Progress is very good.